Hello, my name's Gordon, and I am making my first attempt at a video tutorial of the Fate of Millions game. I am playing the 1941 scenario here, and I am one of the two designers of this game. I did the basic logic of the game and the orders of battle and the maps, and my buddy Rich did all the JavaScripts, the computer programming that makes it all work. And he also helped with various tweaks and design modifications as we went along. So here we are at the beginning of a turn. This is called the reconnaissance phase, and you can see on the left side of the screen what was their last turn. And here on this side of the screen, what happened this turn. These black lines show some movement. Here we see basically these are the Russian mechanized corps, and they ran away. So there's, yes, we see the 23rd Tank Division there, and 28th Tank Division, and so forth. He apparently is withdrawing to the other side of Lake Peipus to get out of Latvia and back into Russia proper, and he's fleeing from the advancing German panzers over here. I'm advancing on the city of Riga, which is the provincial capital of the Latvian Soviet Socialist Republic. So that's my goal, to capture Latvia, capture Riga this turn, and I advance as far towards Leningrad as I can. We can see his secondary lines of defense here, and here. This is around Minsk, and this is around Zhytomyr. Kiev is over here. Smolensk is over here. Moscow is over there. Basically, the border started somewhere back here, and on turns 1 and 2, the Germans basically crushed all the frontier forces of the Russians and advanced. They surrounded Russian 10th Army here at Bialystok and crushed it. There's only a tiny bit left. Some of the 3rd Army was destroyed, some of it retreated back to here. Historically, by this point in the game, this is turn 5, a month into the invasion, the Germans would have encircled and captured Minsk, and they would be trying to encircle Smolensk and fighting against some Soviet counterattacks in this area. In this game, either my opponent has been extremely successful at stalling me, or I've been a little overly cautious. But I know that he's very good at counterattacking, so I've been trying to avoid losing my units. And here we see the Ukraine. I moved to capture Lvov. I sent the 1st Panzer Group out through here, attempting to encircle the Russian 12th Army, and there's one of his mechanized corps is counterattacking in along the Romanian border. He sent basically all of his mechanized corps to attack my 1st Panzer Group, and there was a huge tank battle, which the Germans did okay at. They took some losses, but they inflicted many more on the Russians, and the Russians ran away again. So here we have a Russian player trying to set up a defense in front of Kiev. And if you keep your troops in a line, you're less likely to get encircled. If you get encircled, you are in trouble in this game, because then you are out of supply. And here we see one of the objective cities, and it has a strategic value of 200. That means that the owning player, if it is in your own country, gets 200 men every turn, every weekly turn in the game. So if I capture enough of the Russian objective cities, I will be depriving them of replacements, and their army will not grow as strong as it would. So that's my goal, and I've captured Lvov. Here, unfortunately, most of the 12th Army got away. I failed to break through in the northern frontier of Romania, where I had hoped to finish this encirclement, and it didn't really happen. So we see here, if we zoom in, there's a mess of units. And these swastikas are the German army units, and these iron crosses are the German air units. And if you highlight any one of these, you will get on the top of the screen the details of what it's all about. On the Russian side, the hammer and sickles represent the army units, and the red stars represent the air units. And so here we see there were a couple of battles where the Russians tried to attack. They overran one of my units here. I can look at the details of the battle. And my 76th Infantry Division was out of supply behind enemy lines. Didn't do very well there and got wiped out. That is unfortunate. Over here, the battle was a stalemate. He sicked a mountain division and some supporting artillery and such on a Romanian border regiment that was on deep patrol behind enemy lines. And I put that unit there primarily as a distraction so he wouldn't attack my other forces. And it was remarkably successful because they actually survived without taking any casualties, which I didn't expect. I thought they would be slaughtered, but there we go. And those are the basic units. Now you have a faint idea how to play the game. I'm going to advance the turn phase so you can see what goes on next. Go to the movement phase. And, oh, actually it's the deployment phase. And here you can see in the red what's under Soviet control, and in the gray what's under the Axis control. And this bluish part over here is just the Pripyat marshes. A soggy place where you don't want to send your tanks. They get bogged down there. I get no reinforcements this turn, so there's not much to do. I can look at reorganizations, and there are some that I may want to do. Partial infantry motorization, partial mechanization, basically getting some more trucks and half tracks to make my army a little quicker. And I'm all for that. I'm also going to look at where to move my units, because you can take units that are on the map and move them as far as you want in your friendly territory during the deployment phase. But the drawback is once they get there, they're too busy hopping off the trains and trucks to do anything else, so they can't maneuver and attack in the same turn. If you don't touch a unit during the deployment phase, then in the next phase they do get to move and attack, and I'll show you that in another video. The last thing to look at here is these pins, and I'm just taking notes in some cases, which I don't share with the enemy, but I'm just telling myself that I shattered the 6th Cavalry Corps last turn. And if I see them again, I know they're weak and I shouldn't be afraid of them and I should just finish them off. There are some pins which you share. You can choose to share with the other player and you can taunt him, or you can just make comments or be friendly or whatever you want to do. Usually it's a friendly game, but we are at war in this scenario. So here we are, the end of that.